Hi, this is Laurie from Dutchy. This is my vlog for C2 Eagle, week 3. So this week it's the 10,000 hour rule, and the students are asked to create a plan to master a skill. My project idea is for the kids to create either a talk show or a news interview on an individual who has tried to pursue a dream, whether that be an artist, sports player, or whatever, and talk about how this person got to the success level that they have, or on the other hand, if they didn't become successful and why. For applications, of course, Polaris to tie everything together, media, pictures, videos, anything the kids create. Or what's been really handy actually is S-Note. We can actually export that into a PDF, and so it looks quite nice when they do that, and some of the kids find that easier. So S-Note or Polaris. Also, I'm going to be using some sound effects this time to make it a little bit different. Piano for you. You can actually play a piano on your tablet, and there's a bunch of different functions where you can change the sound effects to a guitar, flute, drums, whatever. So that'll be kind of cool for the kids, and it is approved, so they should be able to download it without guardian issues. Secondly, I'm going to be using FX Guru. If they choose to do a news interview, there's a really cool FX Guru called Breaking News. And then it looks like they're on the news. A problem that I saw was in the project, the different layers of personal projects. So they had something called Learn, where they were supposed to describe how they planned on a, obtaining the skill. And the second one was how to improve, which was basically they had a schedule and they had to plan a schedule on practicing the skill. And the last project was Master, which they didn't really describe how they wanted the kids to demonstrate how. In the Learn component, send them a media card with different skills that they can pick from. If they have another one, of course they can go with that, but so then they just pick one of those skills, and then they can try to figure out what's the best way to learn that skill. Internet, TV, teacher, friends. Incorporate the media cards there. When we go to the second component of plan out a person's schedule, but then I'm also going to ask them to incorporate time for rest, and stress management, and just other daily activities, whether that be school or work. So see how they plan that around practicing and mastering the skill. But the parts before where they're supposed to interview each other again and ask what skill that they want to improve, I'm going to skip that to save time. Um, then finally, when we get to master the skill. So the book seems to really talk about opportunities that exist for really successful people like Steve Jobs or Bill Gates or whoever has opportunities, have really facilitated their learning by providing them the time to practice. The actual project doesn't ask them to incorporate that. So what I'm going to do, in the master component, I'm going to send them a media card. In the media card, I'm going to ask them to choose between 1 to 3 different scenarios. They're going to be opportunities or they're going to be disadvantages, but I'm not going to label. Basically, the kids can pick out 1 to 3 and then use that scenario to develop what happens to their person that goes on this talk show. So, for example, scenarios can be winning the lottery, born rich, becoming bankrupt, born poor, attending specialized schools, attending public schools, or being born at the right time to experience or practice a skill. So then basically they pick one of those, and then they're going to go on the show and come on as a very successful person or a very unsuccessful person. So for example, if someone chose the skill technology. Maybe the person can come on and describe, oh, when I was a kid, I played around with all these gadgets, and for the past 10 years, I spent X amount of hours. My schedule was like this, and this is why I became who I am, and this is why I'm successful. Or scenario B, if they choose to go for someone who has become very unsuccessful, but maybe their scenario was being born poor or experiencing bankruptcy. So again, like in the book, they say that when this happens, the individual has to have a job or a part-time job, and all this extra time where they could be practicing is spent working or sleeping or taking care of the family, and therefore they can't accumulate the 10,000 hours of practice to become a master. So hopefully they understand that and apply that to their TV show. So going to the ID section of collaboration part 3, they have outlined here skill, schedule, resources, and uh, teacher. So I've created a media card for each of those sections to kind of explain what they are. So for example, I'm going to send them a media card right away and outline, okay, in your final project, you must answer the following questions. Did the person successfully master a skill? Did the scenario act as an advantage or a disadvantage? And is the person currently happy or unsatisfied? And then when we move on to the schedule, I'm going to ask them to use the schedule provided on page 6 of Personal Project Part 2, and then create a schedule using that, embed that into their project, and then that's just going to be like a reflection scene from when the individual who's being interviewed is going to describe, oh, for the past 10 years, this is what my schedule has been like. I've been practicing here, I've been working here, etc., to explain how they got to where they are. And then finally, when we go to the resources, ask them questions. So, what helped this person being interviewed develop their skill? Meaning, was it a teacher? Was it being able to have access to instruments and different technologies? The whole collaborative project part 4 seems very much the same, actually almost identical. So I'm just going to completely scrap that. As you can see, this is that next section, and it has the 4 sections outlined yet again. So cutting that out, because why do that 2 times? Part 5, the expressions. I'm actually going to incorporate my own sections with like talk show host sayings and a welcome and things like this. And I did this once before for birdie level, and I let them like create props with like uh, a logo. So someone, if it was like called the Jenny Show, she like did her signature and took a picture of her face and incorporated that onto the banner. And then they had cut out different little cue card backings, and then they would put that on the back of their tab, so that when they had their tabs there for in place of cue cards, then it looked like they were just cue cards for the talk show. So that was really cute. It's like a microphone. But in terms of like drawing things out, which I made my kids do for week 1 and week 2, I'm trying to eliminate that for this week, trying to make it different, and then let them play around with their tab a little bit more so that it doesn't seem repetitive and monotonous. Anyways, I hope this works out, and I'll touch base with you after teaching a few of these classes. So until next time.